Did you know that every time you watch a Rollshambo.edc video and you don't hit the like button, a knife is born with a weak detent? Only you can prevent weak detents. Head on down to the comment section. Let me know about the last knife that you bought that had a weak detent, and make sure to hit the like button on the way down. How's it going, everybody? I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And all jokes aside, if you do find this video helpful or entertaining, a like would be much appreciated. And if you haven't done so yet and you want to watch more content afterwards, make sure you hit subscribe. Today we're talking about a knife that is just newly released. This is the Oknife Heron L1. Another competitor in the sub $100 price range, which is awesome. 2023 is the year of the sub $100 knife. I'm talking to you. If you want to buy a knife and not spend your rent money and not spend your electrical bill, or maybe you just want to buy some eggs when you're done. Guys, here it is. The Oknife Heron L1. A knife designed like a much more expensive knife, but in the budget price range. It's going to be in the $60 and under range. And if you decide after watching this video that you want to buy it, make sure you check out the description below because it will be linked there. So, Oknife, full disclosure, Oknife did send this to me. Is that going to taint my opinion? No. There is some good, there is some not so good. We're going to get to the bottom of it. Let's check it out. This is the Heron L1. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this brand new knife from Oknife. Also, the same company as Oknife, the brand that brings you those really, really good flashlights. I have a few and I love them. Right off the bat, the packaging really reminds me of like an Apple product. It feels premium. It feels good. I like that it shows the product on the front and it also gives you some information right there as well. And in case you were wondering, they're claiming this weighs 5.36 ounces. We'll be the judge of that. Let's check it out. So you slide off the cover and you'll notice that you're greeted by this commemorative patch. Now, Oknife used to do commemorative coins. I think maybe they changed that or they just decided to switch to patches. I'm okay with it. I like it. These PVC patches are pretty sweet. Next up, you have the pouch with the knife in it. Below that, you get this, which has your manual and your cleaning cloth in there. Pretty standard stuff. But check this out. So this is actually a really cool piece of information. It says right here, each Oknife is finely tuned by hand and expertly engineered for the best possible performance. Stay sharp with your knife, Oknife team. Cool. That's cool. I like that kind of messaging in the packaging. It shows that they actually paid attention to things that really pop when you're a customer and you're taking the knife out of the package for the first time. I appreciate that the pouch that it comes in is different than all the other zippered pouches that I'm used to. And I like the fact that they use that blue embroidered stitching on there as well. When you open it up, you get the knife and yeah, and we're off to the races. There it is. This is the Oknife Heron L1. And it's kind of a crazy looking knife, but I really, really like the fact that it looks different. At first glance, you might think that this blade is really short or too short for the handle scales. That is until you deploy it. This is your classic Wharncliffe style blade, but you'll notice that it's not like all the other Wharncliffes. This is a compound grind. And I'm impressed. You don't typically find compound grinds on knives that cost this little. If I haven't mentioned it yet, the retail pricing on these is going to be about $65. However, from today, that's today being April 16th through the 22nd, so for about the next week, these are going to be on sale for about $50. And I'll have a link down below if you decide that you want to pick one of these up. Back to the design, this is a compound grind. You have a deep, slicey, hollow grind right here, and then a thicker, flat grind near the tip. It is a Wharncliffe blade, which Wharncliffes are such a good blade shape. And let me tell you why. Wharncliffes are not always the best looking blade, but they're extremely useful. They're very good for self-defense. Just look at the Spyderco Yojimbo 2 and Michael Janich. He'll tell you why Wharncliffes are great for self-defense. They have excellent cutting geometry, but they're also good for utility, which in my opinion is what most people are going to use their pocket knife for, because with the tip down here, it's really easy to get a good angle on that cut so that it's easy to control. You can do fine motor skill type cuts with this knife, and that's great. The blade shape comes up at an angle with this nice jimping. Adequate amount of jimping, by the way. Check this out. That is perfect as far as jimping. Not only do you have the upward sweep of the spine of the blade, but it pushes your thumb into that jimping for really good control in a saber grip. I like that. Further down the spine of the blade, you'll notice a little divot. So you can actually choke up even further with your thumb if you're doing something like feather sticking, which I think that this would be an excellent camping knife, if I'm being completely honest. As far as the thickness of the blade, it stays pretty thick out towards the tip, and that's because of this compound grind that I mentioned. That flat grind near the tip is going to make this so when you jab it into something, if you were to stab this into a tree, it's less likely to snap off the tip. And I think that that's actually a really clever way to design it. I've seen compound grinds where you have the thinner part towards the tip and the thicker part back here. And I actually like this better because now you can reserve this deep hollow grind for slicier things. This is going to be very slicey down here near the heel of the blade. Now, you've probably been wondering about these handle scales. These are some crazy handle scales, aren't they? It's like a reverse frag pattern on the handle scales. This is G10, but it's because of that pattern, you get really good superior grip on that. And I like that. It's a nice wide handle scale, gun stock style, and of course it is in fact a liner lock. Now this liner lock is rounded out and chamfered over, so it's actually very easy to disengage. And the action is supremely smooth. That I say that because when I read the information on this knife that they said frictionless ceramic bearings, and I said, I'll be the judge of that. And then I deployed it, and then I closed it, and then I deployed it, and I closed it. And I gotta say, the action feels really good. I really enjoy the fact that they have this blue aluminum ring around this single-sided captive pivot. Not only does it pop, but it's a single-sided captive pivot. You get an adequate amount of jimping right there on the flipper tab, so access to that deployment is very nice and easy. Can you fail the deployment? I think so, but it would be really difficult. The detent on here is really well done, and I'm going to harken back to the unboxing section of this, where they had that note in there at the bottom of the box that said that we hand tune every knife. That's very impressive. Now, I'm pretty positive that this knife was OEM'd by Kizer, and that's probably one of the reasons why this feels so good in the hand, because Kizer does a really phenomenal job. It's possible that I'm wrong, but I'm pretty positive that Kizer OEMs this knife. It is crazy, absolutely crazy. I like the transition here from the deployment hole to this full length fuller. It gives you some extra options for deployment, so you can actually deploy it down there. That was a bad one. But you get a lot of extra access to that blade, which I think is pretty cool. Now let's talk about the pocket clip. The pocket clip is not recessed, and that is a tiny bit of a bummer, but that's honestly, it's okay. And the reason why it's okay is because the G10 is milled out. So had they not done this, this would have been recessed. So it's not that big of a deal. It's not like this is sitting on one of these G10 humps right here. Something that they got right is flat screws on that pocket clip. So it's going to fit in some very thick pants. If you have Carhartts, this is going to fit very nicely. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the stamped pocket clips with this design, where it goes down into a bump and then into a plateau. I would have rather seen a ski jump that goes straight up, because it's just easier to get into the pocket. But it does work, and that is a very minor gripe. You don't feel the pocket clip in the hand. It disappears, which it should. Pocket clips are meant to be used, seen, and not felt. And this does a very good job of accomplishing that. I've said it once, I'll say it again. 2023 is the year of the sub $100 knife. When companies compete for your dollars, you win, because you get more for your money when they do that. The knife feels really good. I think that it's a decent contender for a camping knife, or for a basic utility knife, or even a regular EDC knife. Now, they advertised on the box that this weighs 5.36 ounces. I know that based on my measurements, this blade length is going to come in at about 3.6 inches. So is it a heavier knife? I'll let you be the judge of that. Personally, I don't really feel like this is a heavy knife. It doesn't feel like a heavy knife to me, but I'll let the scale do the talking. So the box said let's see. Yep, box says 5.36 ounces. The scale says 5.4. Close enough for government work. I'm not going to complain about that. 5.4 ounces. So yeah, as far as, dainty pocket knives go, this is going to be on the heavier side. But if you're used to carrying a big knife, and I have a feeling that this knife is really going to appeal to people that like bigger knives, then yeah, I don't think you'll have an issue at all. If you have bigger hands, I think this is perfect. If you have smaller hands, maybe not as much, but again, I think that ergonomics is really something that you have to feel out for yourself. And at the price of $50, it's not really a big expenditure to find out. They do a really good job on this, and I'm excited to actually have one in hand to talk about, because normally when Oknife releases a knife, they sell out really quickly. Especially when they do these on their flash sales like they're doing right now, and they discount it. Like, this is 20% off, which I think is fantastic, because it gives the people that are interested right away a chance to get it at a lower price. With that being said, if you want to check out anything else on the OBuy website, which is Olight's sister website, feel free to use my code. They were kind enough to give me a discount code. That code is RS10. So code RS10 at checkout for any non-discounted items, and it'll get you an additional 10% off, which I think is pretty sweet. Man, this knife is very fidgety. The detent does feel nicely tuned, and the action is nicely tuned as well. The ergos are great. I really do enjoy this gunstock style handle, and this is a knife that I think would be really easy to carry. I do have a nitpick, and that nitpick is that I kind of wish that they had said screw it about the weight and just put a backspacer on there, because this is a lot of blade in the pocket, and part of it gets really thin behind this edge. However, at this price point, I don't really think it's fair to complain about backspacers, since not many knives in this price point have a backspacer that would actually do anything for a knife of this size to begin with. If you're wondering about the carry profile, let's go ahead and check it out against something like the Spyderco Manix 2. To give you an idea of what this knife is like compared to a Manix 2, there you go. Very similar as far as how it's going to line up in your pocket. The carry profile is going to be about the same. Let's check out the blade length. So blade length is going to be a little bit longer on the Heron L1. And if we are going to compare against thickness in the pocket, it is a bit thicker. And it's about the same on the height of the blade. So I would say that this is a great comparison. If you have a Manix 2, it's going to be very similar to carrying a Manix 2. But guys, I'm excited. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, boo-hoo, you know what to do. And if you want to see how I end up ranking this knife against other excellent knives in this sub $100 price range, make sure you hit subscribe and tap that notification bell. I'm Rollshambo. I'll catch you on the flip side.